All right, we're live. Hey guys, how you doing? It's the Honeydew Carpenter and the always beautiful Mrs. Honeydew Carpenter. And we are in a garage in St. George, Utah. So we're at a wedding. Mrs. Honeydew wanted to come down here for a few days and help her friend get ready for her wedding. And so essentially her friend is a widow. She lost her husband some years ago, and she is getting married to another widow, and they're putting together two families. One had 5 kids, the other one had 6. So they're putting together a big family, and so that's what all the totes and everything are in the garage. They're just trying to figure this thing out. And anyway, we named this one Time to Reflect. And it's a fitting name. I'm glad, I'm really glad we came down here. I'm actually embarrassed to say that I was actually in my thought processes, I was kind of vacillating, going back and forth whether I should take these few days and come down because I had so much work to do, but I'm really glad I did. It gave me some time to look through message boards and other things, and I'm just kind of mortified with myself a little bit. I've had some failures. I had a gal on our message board on Etsy just really give me a tongue lashing, and it was well deserved. We have some really big things coming up. I put together some kits that I'm developing for molding aircrete bricks, and so that they go together in a specific pattern in a specific way, and it's just really artistic, and it's going to be beautiful, and I think it's just going to blow the lid off of aircrete and what can be done with it. And so I'm really super excited about that, but at the same time, as I've taken these few days to go back and be away from my shop and away from distractions, I've realized that I've failed some people in a big way, and it is just really my intention to make it right. Look, there's my notes. I did a few notes. But, you know, when it comes to running a business and our lives and everything, I like to kind of focus on like 12 key areas, and they basically deal with the roles that we play. You know, husband, father, provider, and all the different roles that we play. And I'm not going to go through them all, but some of them I have down pat, and I'm really good at, and some of them Mrs. Honeydew has down real pat, and she's really good at them. But there are other areas where I tend to neglect things, and so I just wanted to kind of tell you a little story to give you an idea where we're coming from here. So here the story goes. It was a dark and stormy night. Captain. Oh, we just had the new the new wedding couple just come into the garage and interrupt our live show. But it's not an interruption at all.
Yeah, whatever.
Jason loaned me his tie. Thanks for the tie, Jason. So here we go. I'm going to start again. It was a dark and stormy night. Captain, get up. What is so important that you have to wake me up? Well, there's a ship in our sea lane 20 miles ahead, and it will not move. We'll tell them to move. I did tell them, but they won't move. Oh, fine, I'll get up and I'll tell them. Tell them who I am. I'm important. I'm a captain. The signal goes out. Move starboard 10 degrees. This is Captain Horatio Hornblower.
Mom, there's corn dogs here.
And the signal comes back. The signal comes back. You move starboard 10 degrees. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Who is this joker to tell me to move starboard 10 degrees? I'm gonna tell them who we are. This is Captain Horatio Hornblower, flagship for the 7th Fleet. Move starboard. I am commanding you to move starboard 10 degrees. And the signal comes back. This is Seaman, 3rd class. This is Seaman, 3rd class, nobody. You move starboard 10 degrees. He's like, oh, I have got to tell these people who we are and what we can do. We could just obliterate them off the map. Signal goes out. This is Captain Horatio, commander of the mighty Arizona, flagship for the 7th Fleet. I am commanding you to move, or we will make you move. Signal comes back. This is the lighthouse.
Your call.
And so, obviously, the fleet of ships went ahead and redirected and moved starboard. And the funny thing about that story is it's actually a true story, where a lighthouse was misidentified on the radar as a ship. And the reason I say this is because really there are principles that we need to live by that guide us in our lives. We think we guide our lives, but really there are principles that we have to live by. And I read this book once called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the very first principle is put first things first. And as I've taken this time over the past few days to reflect and go through some of the people that I've wronged and whatnot, I've just realized that there are certain areas where I've been failing and I haven't been putting first things first, and I'm intend on making that right. Next week on our live show, we're giving away a foam mate for anybody who commented on our last edited video. And we're really excited about that. But at the same time, I'm also going to give away another foam mate to this person that messaged me on Etsy. Her name is Bonnie Lou. I was so busy, I just kind of skimmed over the messages and I didn't take the time to actually read them and internalize them. And I went back through all 6 messages and I read it, and she had a really compelling story. And she's disabled. She had bought a end nozzle kit to put together herself and make a foam mate. It was the hard to find parts stuff, and she was going to get the easier parts and put them together. And she was having some difficulty, and she wanted me to answer with some insight and whatnot, and I completely botched it. And so that tongue lashing that she gave me was completely deserved. I'm so sorry. If she just wants me to make a tank for her and send it out so she can attach it to her end nozzle, that's great. If she wants a whole deal, she's going to get a whole new foam mate. I actually, in that book I just referenced, The 7 Habits, the author told a story about one time when he was in New York City and he was going to a very important meeting. And for whatever reason, there was some threads on his tie, or the color just didn't match his suit, and he wasn't feeling confident about it. He just felt like he needed to go get another tie, and and return the tie. And he couldn't find the place that he bought the tie from, and so he just went into another haberdasher store and told him his story, and he was like, I just, I need a new tie. I've got to return this one. I just don't feel confident about it. And they were like, well, would you like to return that tie and exchange it? And he goes, well, I didn't even buy it here. And they go, that's no, never mind. It doesn't make any difference to us. We just want you to be happy with your tie. And it made such an impression on him that as he grew his company, that meeting worked out well for him. And as he grew his company and whatnot, he set up an account for his account executives at this store. And that act of customer service turned into just multi-thousands of dollars of business for that store. And that story, I've read that book probably 100 times, and that story really stuck with me. And so I thought, you know what, I ought to do the exact same thing. Since I invented the foam mate, there's been a lot of different copycats out there, and they've sold some of them and whatnot. But if you have a foam generator, a do-it-yourself or a homemade type foam generator that just wasn't what you expected, and you wished you had gone and gotten a foam mate, if you return it, if you look at the P.O. box here and you return it to the Honeydew Carpenter, I'll exchange it and I'll send you out a foam mate. Just all I ask is you send me the shipping, and we'll do that. Because when I launched these new form kits for a way of making bricks and putting them together and fastening them in such an artistic way, I think it's going to really blow the lid off of aircrete and what it can be used for. And I think it's going to be a big thing. So I just want anybody who wants a really high quality, good foam generator out there to be able to have one. So in short, I'm really glad that I took these few days. I'm embarrassed that I even thought about not doing it. And that being said, let's go ahead and take some questions. Oh, and also I've been kind of putting first things first. I don't want to subordinate things that are less important to things that are more important. So I've been kind of making a list of those things that we've already committed to, especially with like the Kickstarter and the rewards and stuff. And we're going to go ahead and start getting those put out too. So let's take some questions.
All right, so Terry Oak says good morning from Alaska.
Good morning, Terry.
Right? That's awesome. Alan Ingalls says good morning from Kansas. Good morning, Rebecca. Hans says great morning from Ohio.
There's
Thank
David
you.
Bennett.
David Bennett says, howdy do, movie stars. Wow, all dressed up and nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Every once in a blue moon, there's a wedding or something, and I have to actually put a tie on.
Jose says, hola, looking good. Thank you, Jose. David Bennett says, thumbs up. Beaver Creek Farm Life says, good morning.
Hey, Alan. How you doing,
Good
buddy?
morning. Good to see you on, Alan. Heaven Bounce says, blessings all. Thank you. Mark Wilson says, morning, Hollywood and Mrs. Honey. Aw, thanks, you guys. Marilyn Taylor says, good day. Malber says, good morning from Michigan. Look good, all dressed up.
Awesome.
Aw, thanks, you guys.
You are nothing. First things first. You know what?
Right.
That guy's exactly right. We get this sense about ourselves that, oh, I'm important. I'm the Honeydew Carpenter. And then you get smacked in the face with these like lighthouse type principles, and you're exactly right, buddy.
Edie Graywolf says, morning all. Edie from Seattle. Gail says, good morning from Hooterville, a.k.a. Henderson, Nevada.
Oh.
Well, good morning. Tubular Guy 9 says, well, that was unexpected.
What?
I don't know. Marilyn says it's good to be willing to admit our faults and try to improve where we can or accept what we must. That is so true. Very true, Marilyn.
That is so true.
You Are Nothing says excellent reparation from the heart of forgiveness, but be advised, real leaders are born to touch many and not required to touch all. Lead wisely and not blindly, but lead.
Okay, that makes sense.
That does make sense. So
But-
thank you.
That tongue lashing I got, we call ourselves Mr. and Mrs. Honeydew. In the little rant that I got, she called us Mr. and Mrs. Too Busy. And I just realized that, you know what, I do need to take some time and go through some of these messages and listen more fully and pay more attention to people that are maybe having some struggles with Air Creek.
Happy Canada Day.
Oh, is it Canada Day?
Marilyn Taylor says, Happy Canada Day, Andrew. Mitch Anthony says, good morning. Well, good morning, Liberty. Says, we're going to get the foam recipe.
Awesome.
Andrew Sherwood says, thanks, Marilyn, and to you all the best. Thank you. And Beaver Creek Farm Life put our email account up for us. It's honeydewcarpenter1@gmail.com. So go ahead and send us an email there, and we'll see about getting back to you. And he also put our Honeydew Carpenter Shop website up too for us. Thank you, Beaver Creek Farm Life. That is awesome.
Who won the foam mate? Andrew asked. Well, in the video I said in 2 weeks, or I said in the next 2 weeks, but it's on next weekend's live show. We'll be at our shop. Hey, buddy. And that's when we're going to give people 2 weeks to put their name in the hat. And
so
then,
a week
and then
from
we're gonna
today,
draw.
we will do a drawing and see who won.
And I think there's already like 70 some people's names in the hat. So there's a lot of people out there that want this foam mate.
Awesome. Brian says, good morning from California.
Oh, cool.
Beaver Creek Farm Life put our Etsy shop link up for us.
Awesome.
So if you guys want to check out our Etsy shop, you can click that link and everything. Andrew says, was hoping Canada treasure.
You know what though, guys, really all in all, because we've had like 1,700 total or 1,800 total sales on our Etsy store. Obviously a lot of them have been recipes and other things, the majority of them, but we have had several hundred foam mates go out. I think that was like the only one, and so I don't have to deal with that a whole big deal. So if I ever do, I just want to make sure that I take care of the people or whatnot.
So Liberty Cabin asked, when are we going to share your foam recipe? We have a bunch of different foam recipes. Not a different foam recipes.
Oh,
that we
that's
just
public.
Yeah.
I don't sell it or anything. It's just 32 to 1. 32 parts water to 1 part Schwab shampoo.
And he likes the clarifying shampoo.
Yeah, because it just has the least amount of additives and colorings in it.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
what I use for foam. There are some people who want to use these commercial foaming agents like Drexel, and I've done comparisons between the two, and there just isn't that much, especially given the fact that like Drexel is flammable. I mean, if you look at the material safety data sheet stuff on it, you don't want to have it around your kids, and you want to be very careful with it and wear chemical gloves and stuff.
And Suave is meant to be on the body so that you don't
Right.
worry.
And so the main ingredient in Schwab is one of the main ingredients in these commercial foaming agents. It's the main thing that makes it a juvient. And and releases the surface tension of the water, and so and makes it strong and whatnot. And so, and really, if you want to get like Drexel at a decent cost, Drexel, it's like $32 a gallon, and you have to buy it in bulk, at least 4 at a time to even get it at a halfway decent price. And depending where you are in the country and for shipping, you're going to end up paying between $145 and $170 for 4 gallons of it. And so I just recommend Schwab because you can just go down to Walmart and pay $2 and get a bottle and get started.
Right.
You know, and it works great.
Marilyn Taylor says, your son must have got his good looks from you, Mrs. Honeydew.
Right?
Still has
Thank
hers, LOL.
God. Man.
That's
That's
sweet.
I always wanted to have, you know, really good looking kids, but I didn't feel like I could just kind of depend on this gene pool right here. And so I figured I had to marry someone super hot.
I love you. You're so sweet.
And I
And
ended up
thank
with
you,
cute
Marilyn. Mark Wilson says, I was hoping to start some test blocks this summer, but maybe next year.
kids. You know what is going to be so incredible when I release these form kits?
It's awesome.
It is. I can't believe I didn't think of it sooner. It is gonna completely change the face. It's gonna be something that homeowners and whatnot can look at and go, oh, I can buy that form kit, and I can make these aircrete blocks, and in one weekend I can build that. And it makes it 100 times faster, 100 times cheaper. I think it's just going to really. I actually had some of the video edited. I just didn't think I had it complete enough to release it, but we're going to release it next week, and I think it'll be very eye-opening for people.
So you are nothing. It says, when you began this path, did you see this day? And would you be afraid if you see a day like today? Lastly, what to see in the future? Your goal is your soul. Dreamers wake to nightmares and visions win.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. No, we did not see this day. Actually, to begin with, when I started this YouTube channel, I started doing something a little different. I was, just wanting to make some money to extra money to earn some money to go to Hawaii.
With her friend that is getting married this weekend.
Yes, but he actually thought I was really just crazy. He was like...
Batshit crazy.
Yeah, he was not really on board at all. And fortunately, it worked out wonderful, and we ended up... Julie is like, wait a second, hold on, just follow him around with a camera. And that's what we did.
You know what? Her friend Julie that helped her get the channel started is kind of a genius in a way. She has some people skills that are kind of off the charts. She came over and she's like, looked at me and she goes, and looked at some of the projects I had done in my shop, and she goes, your husband is brilliant. And I was like, whoa, I kind of like this gal. Maybe we should listen to her. Maybe she's not so crazy. And she goes, just follow him around with the camera. And she came over the next Saturday as we were building a project, and that's how the Honeydew Carpenter was born. She gave us some tasks of different things that she wanted for her homestead and said, can you do that? And I was like, yeah. And then, of course, aircrete, I became interested in that and invented the foam mate, and so.
So, because
we
of
never saw
Julie over at Dirt Patch Heaven,
Right.
we have the Honeydew Carpenter, which is amazing. So we owe a ton of credit over there, and you guys should check her out too. And for the rest of your question, you are nothing. We do have a lot of future goals and dreams, and we want to be able to get some land and build a bunch of different type style homes. packed earth,
Yeah, just little
a
tiny
dome,
homes.
aircrete, just little, yeah. Little
Create
homes.
a gathering place, a
Yes.
place where people that are interested in these alternative type building methods can come and they can experience all the different kinds. You know, a container home, um, you know, just a bully barn shed home, similar to what Julie has, a packed earth home, maybe a hobbit home dug in the underground in the side of the mountain, a straw bale home, just an aircrete home.
And we want to record it and help and put it all up there so that we can hopefully continue to help a lot of people on their journey too.
Right.
Edie Graywolf says, how is the forge holding up? What temps has it gone up to? He hasn't done anything with the forge recently because we've been busy doing a bunch of other stuff, so we don't have that.
But
answer.
it's actually holding up fine. One of the the aircrete brick form kits that I've developed is actually for building a forge. And although I was able to take aircrete and just make it normal out of Portland cement, treat it with water glass, and get it to take, you know, upwards of 3,000 degrees, although I was able to do that, it makes it a little more extensive than what I like as far as the treating process and whatnot. And I have a friend that works in the refractory industry. That's what they do. They build these huge kilns for smelting steel and whatnot. And he just is brilliant and has a brilliant mind on how to put together these refractory mixes, whether it be alumina cement with ceramic binders in it and whatnot. And he put together a mix for me. I have several bags of it. And I'm probably going to recommend that if people are going to do a forge, that they actually make aircrete fire bricks out of this stuff. And it's going to be the same fire brick, lightweight fire brick stuff is going in the light and portable rocket mass heater. But it is an incredible material when you take into effect that it can put up with like 4,000 degrees. It's crazy.
So the J-lube is for the bubble structure, right? And baking soda is for faster setting crete, right?
You know what? You're right. This J-lube just strengthens the surface tension of the bubbles when it's introduced into it. J-lube is a little bit difficult to get. You have to get it on online. And so we're doing some tests. We had some of our German viewers that are in this industry over there. Because in Germany, 60% of a lot of the homes are built with cellular cement. And it's a whole industry over there. And they gave us some really good tips. And so we're experimenting with some other ingredients that are more household items that people can use that will even be more effective at strengthening the surface tension of the bubbles than J-lube. And it's in everybody's home. So,
Do you know the composite of the space shuttle concrete tiles? And do you think your formula compares to the U.S. space shuttle?
I do know the composite. I studied it very in depth. It's much lighter, much aerated, more aerated, and than what I'm doing, because what I'm doing uses all the same materials. The alumina cement, the ceramic binders are in it and whatnot. But I'm making it a little bit more dense so that it has a good wear surface and is more like a fire brick, but it'll weigh about half the weight of a fire brick. And instead of costing $5, because if you want a pack of 6 fire bricks, you're going to have to pay $30 plus shipping. So they end up being about $6 a brick for fire bricks. And I'm making them for less than 50 cents.
All right, so what about cellular fiber concrete?
Cellular fiber concrete, that is a lot of what they do in Europe and whatnot. It's a whole industry, and it, to watch how they do it, and they put the mix together, it's a lot denser because they use sand in the mix than what I use, and the curing process. I'm coming up with a DIY curing process because people have had issues with curing, but they have these huge pressurized tanks that they rail car in all these pallets of the bricks and then cure them out for 28 days in a certain humidity, a certain pressure, a certain everything. And it's really quite expensive. And so it's it's a different thing. And they use chemical aeration in it a lot, where they mix up the mix and they have certain metals in the mix that react with each other, and then they gas off when they react, and that's what swells it up. And so there's different ways of doing aircrete. I'm focusing more on the DIY.
Diane says, hi, Melanie and Darwin. Love you guys. Oh, thank you. David Bennett says, by the way, it is very important not to hit your thumb with a hammer. Yeah, Dar's learned that a couple times.
I think every family picture, I've had a black thumb for like
a long time. Marilyn Taylor says that she's super excited about the form kits. Oh, they are awesome, you guys. Beaver Creek Farm Life says, please hit the thumbs up. Can you guys hit the thumbs up for us? And Tubular Guy 9 says, hit. Julie says, what a nice couple. Wow, dressed up too and styling. Oh, you're so sweet, Julie. Thank you. Marilyn Taylor says, it's a smart man who knows when to take the lead from his wife. True partnerships are stronger by benefiting from each other's strengths and minimizing their weaknesses. I could not have said that any better myself, Marilyn. You are awesome. Thank you for saying that.
That is a good observation, Marilyn.
Clarence Mentor says, how about using aircrete as an insulation for a cold room or a chest freezer?
Right. Actually, I haven't done a really good example of pouring aircrete in like wall cavities, but Aircrete Harry has. He has a video out there where he did a pretty good example of that. And when you think about the physical properties of aircrete, the fact that it's not just like a fiberglass insulation that's a dam and just tries to stop it, but it actually will take on and absorb both elements on either side of it, meaning the temperature. So if it's really super hot, it's going to slowly absorb the heat and become hot and stay that way for hours. If it's cold, it's going to take on the cold and become cold and stay that way for hours. And so what it does, guys, especially, I can't believe it, in fact. I can't believe how regulated like Grandpa's aircrete shop is behind his house, because it'll get cool at night and then it'll be in the heat of the day and you can go in that thing and it's still cool in there because it took on the coolness of the night and slowly lets it out. And so it just regulates the temperature. And it's the same thing happens in the winter when it's super cold outside and you put a heater in it and you heat it up and it becomes warm. And then even after the stove shuts down, it continues, all that mass of aircrete, because it took on the heat, continues to slowly release the heat. And it's an amazing building material for that reason. And as far as a chest freezer goes, it would be really easy to incorporate it into an insulated box.
Right. So Clarence asked if you are taking your beautiful wife to the prom. And Clarence, it's not a prom, but it is my best friend's wedding today. And so we're taking a little break from all the wedding festivities and doing our live. You Are Nothing says, my entire family is concrete, block, brick, tilled up, and subterranean parking builders. Your technique and your YouTube channel is like watching the hottest sitcom on TV. Thanks much, and with love and
That's
much
so funny.
respect.
You know what?
Wow, thank you. That is amazing.
Oh, that
You're
is.
Nothing. Wow.
And that's a kind of a cool name he took on. You Are Nothing. You know? The thing about it is it's people like you that I learned and got my start from. Because I became a crane operator after I got out of the military. I went to crane school and I became a crane operator, and I had a long, 25-year career operating cranes. And so I got to see all kinds of different building methods doing that. Meaning I've tilted up wall panels that were concrete. I've got to watch how they're built, how they're poured. Because while some are cured out, they're building others, and I get to see all that. As a crane operator, I had a lot of time on my hands where I would be holding a load for several hours while the men worked on it to get it stable and stationary. And so I just got to watch what went on around me, and it's people like him that I learned a lot of stuff from.
That is awesome. So thank you for that. You Are Nothing. And Tubular Guy 9 says, Julie Ann is a treasure. I watch her videos whenever and wherever I can. So much info in such a small package. That is so very true. We love Julie.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? I've seen some of the comments on Julie's channel, and some people kind of miss the point of what she's doing. But the ones who get it stay forever because they really get it, and they get Julie. And we've become such good friends with Julie and John, and I just I can't say enough good things about her. But if there's anything on her channel that even remotely interests you, I would dig more into it and watch her a little bit more. And once you get past the surface and see what's really inside Julie and what she's trying to do, you'll be a subscriber for life.
Right. Another one that we love is Little Bits of Heaven.
Yeah.
Catherine is amazing too. You guys should check out that too. Mark Wilson says, can aircrete be used to build an in-ground swimming pool?
Oh. You know what? As a part of these forums and stuff, I've been working on different coatings for aircrete. Like hard coatings to seal it that are only like 1/8 of an inch or 3/32 of an inch thick. And I think those are going to completely change the game as well. And so could it be used? It could. It could definitely be used as an in-ground swimming pool. I would say I can't see the point, but I actually can, especially with heated swimming pools, because it would have a really high R value wall, and so it would stop the earth from sucking all the heat out of the water. And so there is some value in that idea. I think it's all going to hinge on my experiments with these coatings and how well they handle the expansion and contraction and whether they crack or not. Because aircrete is porous, it will take on water, but it does seal itself as well. So it would be a fun experiment to make a pool out of it.
I think that's he's on something. I want a pool.
Oh, jeez.
I want a pool.
Dude.
Mitch Anthony says, so are the rewards still coming in August? Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
You Are Nothing says thumbs up. I don't know how to say that name, but another thumbs up. David Bennett says, my left thumbnail is solid black. Ow. You know, David, he has done that many, many times. His thumb right here actually has a little indent permanently from the last time he tried to, hammer his thumb. I like your ticker video. I need some more information about spring mechanism. I don't understand that.
I know.
Ever consider filling a plastic mold like a portable hot tub or even a proprietary line of a chest coolers. Oh. We haven't thought about doing that. That's interesting. That's cool. Liberty Calvin says, do you have a video that shows how to do the best mix on here? I look everywhere on your channel.
Oh,
All of our mix designs.
what happened was I did a lot of videos and I would be mixing the ingredients and it created a lot of confusion because people were like, what was that you're putting in and why did you put it in this order and whatnot. And so I actually put together a mix design where I explained step by step how to mix the dry mixes together, how to mix the wet mixes together, how to combine them and whatnot. And they're on our Etsy store.
And
they've been out for so long, they're kind of public information, but it would be hard for me to, in 2 seconds, explain the whole process.
But also, there's mix designs that are meant for different things. We have a wall panel mix that is meant for wall panels, and then there's the flower bed, the organic flower bed mix. And they're meant to do different things, and so the mixes are different.
If you've ever seen me do that experiment where I took one of the flower bed blocks and I poured water through it, you know, you don't want your earth to be in a sealed, confined situation where the water can't wick through and it could possibly drown your plants and whatnot. And so you want to leave it to your soil and your soil mechanics, whether you want to add perlite to it or however you want to configure your soil for the horticulture type thing to retain water for a certain amount of time. You want the soil to do its job and you want the container that it's in to do its job. That's why like every pot has holes in the bottom. It's meant to let the soil do its thing, and if it gets overwatered, whatever comes out in the excess. And so different mixes for different things, and they are different, and they're different how you put them together.
Is glycerin good for bubble strength?
I've heard that it is, but I haven't tested it.
David Bennett says, what type of that type of temperature regulation is very much like a cave.
Right.
Marilyn says, by the way, I love how you interact with your children when they wander on the videos. You're a great example of what a dad should be like. Oh, Marilyn, thank you. Aw. Larry Willis says, when you started, you made building block with aircrete mixed with straw. How does the blocks hold up with chopped straw as a binder? It seems to me that it would be a less expensive building material. Those are still holding up really well, and actually Julie just did another video on those. Julie over at Dirt
Because that's who I built the interlocking organic block
and so
garden bed for.
And this flower garden has gone through a whole year of the summer, the freeze-thaw cycle of winter, and everything. She did put out another video on it. So I would recommend checking that out.
And what's crazy is I went out and saw it too, and I picked up some of the blocks, and they just got harder. Not only, there were so many people out there who thought that, oh, it'll never make it through the winter, the freeze-thaw cycle, it'll just turn into dust. They couldn't have been more wrong. It was completely the opposite. It just got harder. They just got stronger.
Combining straw bale and aircrete would be cool. We have done a little bit of that, and it is pretty cool. You're Nothing says heart, thumbs up, and thanks back to you 1,000 times. You Are Nothing is a reminder from the generation 18. From ash we came, and ash we return. That's from the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got that. It took me a second. Marilyn says maybe start
Genesis.
with a fish pond. Right, that'd be cool. Start with making a little fish pond.
Oh, you know what, guys? That's incredible that she said that, because these brick form kits that I'm putting out are for small projects, but it's going to open people's mind because it's easy to look at them and see, because it makes mechanical bricks and it makes them all go together in a certain way. And it's going to make it really easy for people to envision similar forms being used to build bigger projects like domes. And so I think she's right. Instead of starting with doing a big swimming pool, just do a small fish pond and test it and see how it works out.
And here, Larry has anybody mixed a bentonite in? Has anybody mixed in bentonite clay in the mix for waterproofing?
Yeah, I've done that a lot. In fact, we were just sealing the foundation out at Dirt Patch Heaven on a portion that was leaking of Julie's home, and we took a track hoe and dug it out, and then I put together a bentonite mixture. Now, bentonite.
Well, have you ever put it in your aircrete?
I have. I tried it in the aircrete, and it ended up weakening it because it would get between the molecules that you want to bond together and become strong, and it would weaken them because it
absorbs so much water.
It absorbs so much water. It is one of the most prolific clays on the face of the earth, meaning it'll expand like 6 times its normal size and become 600% heavier just on the amount of water it'll take on. And so if you have a little bit of bentonite in an area and it gets wet, the soil hydraulics take over and it takes on water and it starts to swell and create pressure, and it actually ends up weakening aircrete and breaking it apart. And so once you have your aircrete blocks up, there is a place as like for a coating to waterproof it where bentonite would work great, but as an internal ingredient it does not work. I tried it.
All right, so Tim says your wife looks hot. Build her a pool. Right, I'm with Tim. Thanks, Tim. Ron says, I've been thinking about an aircrete hot tub. That would be awesome too. Malber says, so a pizza oven and a pool too. Cool. Yep, the list just keeps getting longer.
That's one of the form kits that I actually have is a pizza oven form kit. So I did a pizza oven for Julie, and it was it fell pretty high on the scale of skill sets needed to accomplish it. To be on a DIY scale, it needs to be where a larger group of people could do it, because it took a lot of sheet metal skills and whatnot to accomplish it. This new form system is going to be something that anybody can look at and go, I could do that. And it's going to be beautiful. So.
Right. So, Beaver Creek Farm Life says, Mrs. Honeydew wants an ice cream maker besides her aircrete pool next to her aircrete dome. Get busy, HDC.
Hey, I could do an ice cream maker out of aircrete.
Oh,
and it would really work because it would hold the cold in. And I could test my coating on the inside of it. And all it would do is just be where the ice and stuff would hold it. That would be kind of a fun project.
That would be a fun project. Brian says, can aircrete be used for a foundation of a home?
I would not recommend it for a foundation. I mean, it goes along with the Bible story. The wise man built his house upon the rock. There is no usefulness in using it for a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Foundations, you don't care if they're heavy. You want them to be heavy. There is a lot of utility in having a light, cementous, high R value cement system. But for the foundation, I would just leave that. Now, I would like to create some, once people have their basement and their foundation in, I would like to create some slip forms that somebody can just attach to their wall, pour it like 18 inches deep, let it sit overnight, move the form up, pour another 18 inches, and insulate their whole basement. But I don't see any utility in using aircrete and a less strong product for a foundation. Foundations are meant to be strong and last 1,000 years.
Tubular Guy 9 says, y'all have a great time at the wedding. I have to go and help my brother for a little while. Great chat. Thumbs up.
Awesome.
And peace.
We
need
is-
to be going here in a minute too.
Yeah, we're in this
So-
thing 50 minutes right now.
We'll answer two more.
Okay.
The idea of the hot tub or ice coolers is not original because currently they only have foam in different densities for temp containment. Can your aircrete be used in those brand name ice coolers?
I would have to look at the drawings and what it is that you're talking about. I know it could be incorporated. It's just the physical properties make it a great insulator, and they make it great for efficiency because it takes on the cold and whatnot,
Right.
and it keeps it cold for hours.
And it's light. All right,
Yeah,
so
and it's
Robert says, having restarted my life, I have to take the philosophy of it'll burn in the 7 habits and my Christian walk, putting the big rocks in first and the keys to the happiness.
Okay,
Right?
that's
a good
cool.
one.
What he's talking about is, I've seen that demonstration where they take sand and a little bit bigger pebble and a little bit bigger and then big boulder rocks. And if you put them in the wrong order, they'll never fit. But if you put in the big rocks first and don't subordinate the things that are most important first, then you can put in the little bit bigger rocks and it'll fall between those. And then you can put in smaller rocks, and then go the next size in the gradation and put those in and it'll fall in there, and then put the sand in and everything fits in the container. But if you put them in the wrong order and you try and put the sand and then the little rocks and then the big rocks, they'll never fit. And it's a really good analogy. You guys should look that up.
All right, sorry we didn't get to everyone's comment, but you guys have a great day and we will talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.